Welcome back to another episode of Treknicity, a Star Trek podcast. I'm your host, Lars.
And I'm Patrick.
In this episode, we're going to be ranking Starfleet Captains best to worst.
Well, we're doing tiers more accurately.
Well,
We already know who the worst is.
True.
Oh, I'm not gonna take shots at Shatner.
Shatner.
But a couple rules we're following, with the exception of the mess that is Discovery. It's going to be one captain per series, and it's only going to be the main captain. So yeah, for original Trek, Pike is not getting ranked because he was in a pilot that didn't air originally and kind of got reshuffled.
Correct.
But we got Anson Mount, Pike, no question. We didn't do any of the movies or any of that shit either.
Fair enough. So, let's get into the rat killing.
Let's hit this shit.
All right.
Hey, there.
Now
Here's the screen.
We've got
All right.
live me, we've got static you, and way down there, we have another reoccurrence by Sir not appearing in this episode, Mr. Brandon Leva.
We'll make fun of him for it.
Of course we will.
Anyway.
Especially because he looks like he's throwing gang signs.
Trek gang signs.
You know the funny thing is...
it's like Freeman leaving the Cerritos.
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay, let's start with that idiot Shatner.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You got to put him in the A tier. You just have to.
Yeah, he's automatically going to A tier. The question is he going to be in contention for the S? I would say he's probably in contention for the S. The other rule we have is we award one S tier per list. Unless it was a really big damn list, we would not be awarding any but one S tier. So, I mean, I've seen lists where they have literally every Star Trek character.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then we'd probably do best per series. So,
yeah, fair enough.
Anyway,
I would say that he is a contender for the S tier. However, I honestly don't think he's going to make it because, be honest with you, there are actually better A tier captains on this list.
Well, yeah, because we haven't. Yeah, the next one, for example. But yeah, I mean, Shatner's Kirk was the original captain of the Enterprise.
Yep.
Sorry, Pike, you're getting ignored on that one because really, Star Trek survived on the Kirk, Spock, McCoy trio. That's what drove this. Those are the three characters that primarily drove the series.
Right, and each character was a different aspect of the human condition. And of course, you can sit there and you could talk all day about how, Shatner overacted, but realistically,
Of course he did, because that's what he had to do.
Yeah, he didn't he didn't do it on purpose. He just kind of played the character he thought how it needed to be played, and he didn't, he said several times he didn't realize he was pretty much overacting the character, which is fine. It doesn't matter. Shatner himself as Captain Kirk definitely, has that A tier ranking because he was good. He was very good at that role. Now, what you think of him outside of Star Trek, man, whatever. Who cares? But definitely deserves to be in the A tier.
Oh, yeah, no question. Yeah, I wasn't going to put him less than A tier because that would be bad. So that brings us to the captain of the himself, Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay, so I want him. I would say he goes above Shatner in the A tier. Right now, for me, front runner for the S tier.
Yeah, I kind of just want to move him up there, but
right. But
tell you what, we're going to do that.
Okay, so
if we get somebody that bumps him out, we'll discuss this.
Be honest with you, there's probably, for me, there's probably two captains on this list that could potentially bump him out of the S tier.
Oh, I'm looking at least one of them.
Yeah, I want to say the next one is definitely a good contender for the S tier. He's another A tier listed captain, just
But
because he was a badass in a Starfleet uniform.
but let's talk about the bald headed English Frenchman here.
Which they finally addressed the whole thing about Picard being an English Frenchman in the second season of Picard.
Of course they did, because we gotta explain everything.
Hey, some things needed to be explained. Some things just needed explaining, like the whole Klingon thing. Come on, you knew it.
Worf was right. We don't speak of it. Thank you. But yeah, here's the thing. Growing up, we only had the original Trek to begin with. I never got into it. I just didn't click with me. It was when the D showed up and we got Captain Picard. That is where I really, really, really just kind of clicked in Star Trek. And I could watch Sir Pat on the bridge of the Enterprise any day.
Well, it's no wonder that you got excited when the Big D showed up.
Oh, yeah, I like Big D. Okay. So I'm going to move it back down to A because we have not absolutely picked our S tier yet. Get out of there, Shatner, you spotlight hogging bitch.
So this one...
Any more on Jean-Luc?
No. I think I've said what I need to say.
Yeah. So that brings us to Sisko.
Now, this is one I disagree on. I agree that he should be in the A tier, but
I'll put him right there.
I would put him above Picard. And not because Picard is a bad choice, but because, again, Sisko, when he finally, when they cut him loose, man, dude is badass wrapped in a Starfleet uniform.
He started out giving Picard shit. Let's be honest, and that was when he didn't even know what his character was going to be like. Why am I got? Hang on, shit popping up on my screen. Yeah. I think I would say that puts Picard over Sisko, and we're gonna debate this one back and forth a little bit. The thing that I would say puts Picard over Sisko is Picard was a steady and solid commanding officer through 7 seasons. Sisko had his own arc, and to be honest, DS9 was consistently better in the beginning and then just kept getting better and better. TNG did that too, but we had season one to contend with, and it just took I think it took them a little bit longer to find their footing, and I think that's why. Plus, Sisko's a badass. That kind of gives him best. So I'm going to put him temporarily ahead of Picard, and then we'll discuss whether or not. Then we're going to debate it at the end. These two probably. Well, I haven't heard what number 3 is going to be. So the third person. So let's jump in there. Let's go to Catherine Janeway.
For me, Janeway's got to be another A tier. I would put her probably behind Kirk. Just the end of the A tier, and only because they fumbled with her a bit. Like they really didn't. Yeah. Like it took a real long time for her to get her real footing. Even though she was the first truly badass woman captain that we saw on the screen, she still just took a little bit too long to get spun up. Once they got her rolling, that was it. It was kick-ass all day long. But no.
Yeah. I'd almost consider throwing her in the B tier for just some of the missteps and issues.
But it's not because of her portrayal. Her portrayal was good. They just gave her garbage to run with.
Yeah. It's kind of the Chakotay problem.
Yeah.
And then they threw 7 of 9 in there, and unfortunately that led to some really bad shit with Kate Mulgrew and Jerry Ryan, and that was just shit. But yeah. So we'll leave her in the A tier. Obviously, I think I know. Obviously, when we get to Discovery, that's when we're going to start filling the lower decks out.
The lower tiers are coming up. I mean, hell, Jonathan Archer. As much as I like Scott Bakula, I definitely put him in the B tier.
Yeah, I would probably agree there too. Archer kind of misstep, kind of knew he was kind of just flying by the seat of his pants because basically there wasn't. It's what happens when you get somebody who's been on a program and then is suddenly thrust into the captain's position, and this is the first time they've done this, so he doesn't know what the shit he's doing.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like they kind of tied him down a little bit too much, and I feel like he didn't do as much as he could have to break out of that role.
yeah, I think yeah, both acting and writing, and the fact that the character was supposed to be kind of just trying to figure stuff out, and he did a decent job. Probably a couple more series. I think if you notice, the long running series have done the best, except for Shatner for some reason. Three and done, and somehow he's beating out Kathy Janeway, who literally is pulled her ship out of shit constantly. Okay,
You know,
shall we start filling up the season D's?
Well, just real quick, one last comment about the A tier. There's only one reason why Kirk is above Janeway on this list so far, and I give you in 2 words:
Because Kirk likes to be on top.
Spock's brain. If it had been Kirk's brain, and if that had been the episode, it had been Kirk's brain, he'd be at the bottom of the list. But no, he didn't. So I'm definitely thinking that it's a better. He's in a good spot right now. Now let's go on to Philippa Georgiou.
Now, to be honest, the Discovery one's here. I've seen, I think, 3 episodes, so I can't judge most of these. I kind of know vaguely where we're going to go here. Where are we going to put her?
In the C
Because
tier.
she's going C.
Yep.
Because she made a bad call and basically let a war start.
Well, and that's the thing is that if you watch the first 2 episodes of Discovery, the Vulcan Hello and Battle of the Binary Stars, believe it or not, had they kept that same energy all the way along, I think Discovery would be a lot better than it really is. And the fact is, come on, man, Michelle Yeoh is a awesome actress.
Yeah.
But they just gave her like the stupidest thing. I mean, spoiler alert, they snuffed her in episode 2, only to bring her back as the mirror version of herself. Like, oh man, come on, you guys. The only saving grace for this character is somewhere in season 3, I think it is.
I thought the only saving grace was Michelle Yeoh.
Well, in season 3, she gets to meet the Guardian of Forever.
Because that was something from the original series, so we got to shove that shit in there.
Well,
also, Spock!
Yeah, and they also, in season 2, they freaking go back to Talos 4. Don't get me started on that one.
Nobody was death penaltyed on that shit. Yeesh.
Nope. So, anyways, so the thing is, the reason why Giorgio ends up in the C tier is because, quite frankly, they gave her shit to run with. And to be honest with you, Gabriel Lorca is going to end up right in C tier with her.
Even though he was actually a bad guy. Spoiler alert.
You know what? Actually, I take that way. Go ahead and put him back down. Put him down into the D tier.
Okay. I'm just going to say spoiler alert is Discovery. It's the spoiler.
Yeah.
Because it spoils Star Trek. Okay.
Well, and the thing is, like, they, again, my criticisms of Discovery have become a lot more refined. And it's because I thought to myself, you know what? I've been so negative and so critical of Discovery for so long. I wonder if I had just been soured temporarily by life happening and all that garbage, that maybe I just go back and check it out one more time just to make sure. I got 3 episodes in and I realized, nope, it's shit. And the worst part about it is there is some phenomenal actors and even some cool characters. I love Mary Wiseman's Tilly. But they just had to do all these little things that I guess they thought might make the characters more relatable, but they weren't. They weren't at all, you know. But look, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
So
But
let's get to
the reason why
let's get
Lorca ends up in the D tier is because every minute he
is
was on
shit.
screen, he was garbage. There was it.
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs was handing an absolute crap hand.
Yep.
All right, now
Okay,
Saru.
so I think we're going B tier. Would you
I don't
say
know.
or
I really know. Okay, so Doug, if you ever watch this, please don't hate me. But I actually would probably put him in the C tier with Philippa, but above Philippa. The reason why is because
what?
they spent so much more time focusing on the character being different than they did about showing his ability to command. Like, Saru is a very complex, very cool character, but they spent so much time developing his Kelpian side, you know, trying to flesh the character out so much as far as his race goes, that they completely just let his chance to shine as a leader fall by the wayside or go unrealized.
Yeesh. Okay, so that brings us to the last of the Discovery crap. Where's Burnham going?
Burnham's got to go in B tier. Okay, I actually after the
This is season 4, I assume.
yeah, so like end of season 3 all through season 4, Burnham is a much better captain than she was a first officer.
Last week, did we put her like at the bottom for? Did we put her like at the bottom for first officer?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But I think she was low on the list.
Give me a second. My screen will do some weird for a second. Let me see if I can see that. I'm going to see if I can find.
If you look back through our Discord chat history, you might actually see the link to the
Yeah, we had her in D tier. Her ass was in the D tier.
right.
So, some other interesting things. Saru was in B tier, but C tier for captain. And Burnham was in D tier for first officer, but B tier for captain. So, probably worked out pretty well. Not surprisingly, we have a similar spread in the A tier where pretty much everybody we put in the A tier is there except poor Chakotay. Anyway.
Okay. So this might be a bone of contention between you and I. He is actually my third possible S tier candidate.
Okay. I'm going to agree here with you. We're going to put him in the A tier above Kirk.
Yes.
I'm going to say
Anson Mount's portrayal of Pike is definitely better than Jeffrey Hunter's and is a better overall captain than Kirk. Period.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every second Anson Mount and his hair are on screen is automatically a good day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
like I don't know what the hell they did with when they got together and put their heads together to do Strange New Worlds, but man, they just rolled a nat 20.
So yeah, I'm going to but because Strange New Worlds is basically knocking it out of the park, but they've only got one season. I'm going to say that on that point, I'm going to disqualify him from the S tier just because we have not seen how good he get. He's definitely in contention to take out Picard and Cisco and take the S tier. But I think we've had one really good season. We've seen what he's capable of. We've seen that when he was given the same scenario as Kirk, he failed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll agree with that. So that would put.
Yeah.
That would probably put Picard. It's either going to be. I think it's either going to be Cisco or Picard.
Yeah, and gee, I wish Brandon had showed up for this one because we kind of need a tiebreaker on this one. So yeah, I can say nothing. Now I love Lower Decks to death. I love all the characters. They're spectacular. I think we're putting her C tier.
Yeah.
Or maybe the bottom of D, top of C or bottom of D.
I say top of C because we've had 3 seasons, and I could probably count on 2 hands the number of times we've seen Freeman. Like, and every time, and, I mean, I know it's tongue in cheek and I know it's a comedy, but the number of times we've actually seen Freeman on screen being a captain, she's been kind of a douche nozzle.
But she's been competent when shit hits the fan. She's competent.
Yeah, but still, I think top of C is where she belongs.
Although last week's episode almost makes me want to throw her in D just for her stupid acidness.
Because she was a douche?
Oh yeah, douche supreme.
Yeah,
douche canoe.
You know what? Go ahead, just let's throw her down
douche
there. Because this list is arbitrary anyways.
Yeah, I say let's leave her in C though. I don't want to put her with Lorca. Lorca's a dick.
Yeah, he is. And he's so badly written. I mean, the character is just. I mean, look, Jason Isaacs is a great actor. However, they made an English guy play a Southerner, like I'm almost like a Texan, and I can't get over that. I can't come to terms with it.
Yeah, I can get around. I can get my head around it. I just can't get my head around Discovery because it means watching Discovery. So.
Look, to be fair, you could to be honest about Discovery, based on my experience with it, you could, if you cherry picked enough, you could find a few really decent episodes. And also, I mean, like, okay, Rainn Wilson portraying Harry Mudd, that was pretty cool. I got to give you credit on that one. I have to give him credit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about S tier. Because we got Sisko and we got Picard. Picard is the Paragon captain. He is probably when I think of Star Trek captains, that's who I think of.
Okay. I could argue that Picard deserves to take the top spot for one reason, okay? So this is basically, if you can see on the screen, this is what I feel Sisko is like. So it's like this. Okay? It's a curve up. Like it's a nice gentle curve up. He does end up a badass. He ends up right up here and it just sweeps right up beautifully. But it's that slow burn. It's that slow burn. With Picard, it was like almost flatline. First season, second season, a little bump. Third season, just right, like he doesn't come and he doesn't come down. And even in the light, and like even his portrayal in the less popular Insurrection and the garbage Nemesis, he's still a consummate cool captain.
Yeah. Well, as a character, Avery Brooks' Sisko is, I'm going to say, his one is the more interesting character overall.
Well, because he's more relatable, he's more human.
And he makes more mistakes and gets a little more violent.
Well, even during the Dominion War, during the Dominion War, he made morally ambiguous decisions. So it makes him more human and makes him more relatable. But at the same time, we don't necessarily want to see our heroes being flawed humans. This isn't a freaking. This isn't a DC comic, man. Okay, we want to see heroes.
Everything's dark.
I just think realistically, if I have to call it, I would have to call it as we have it. Picard in the S tier.
And with Sisko wanting to be there, but yeah, I think the great flaws that make the character great bump him out of the S tier. So let's see, how did we do? Oh, the original four cap of the original five series is all A tiers except for poor Archer, and of course Pike, who originated the original series, made it up there. The farther you get away from the original Trek, the worse they get.
Yeah,
overall.
look at Archer. I mean, one of the things that counted against him, I think, is like one of the lines in Broken Bow Part 1 when T'Pol basically goads him into an emotional reaction, and she's like, you can't even restrain yourself, and he's like, restrain myself. You don't know how much I'm restraining myself from knocking you on your ass, and it's like, really? That's kind of stupid. I mean, you're just like they wrote that character to play right into that. I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Again, with all of them, they as they go, they get better. But I think Archer probably was the weakest getting there. And obviously, we love Anson Mount's Pike. Freeman we put kind of in the middle, and the Discovery crew somehow just goes down, 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 and worse.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it is really tough. I mean, I love
Yeah,
Doug Jones.
and I just realized I might have left Picard, whoever's captaining whatever in Picard, but
Oh yeah, well that was. I mean, he's not a Starfleet. He does become a Starfleet captain. It's very convoluted, but that's Chris Rio. Chris Rios, who was started off the series as owner and captain of the La Sirena, and then in season 2, beginning of season 2, he is the captain of the new Stargazer, and then he's not, and then that's kind of it.
yeah, and so yeah, that and what is Prodigy? Obviously, I left those two off because those are kind of just, it's kind of small ensemble. It's not Starship. It's not Starships. It's not and it's not starships or space stations or any commanding solid commanding officer.
Right, exactly. Well, the thing is, yeah, I mean, Dal
Yeah.
is a good leader, or is becoming a good leader in Prodigy, but again, it's not. I mean, they're not technically Starfleet. They are they sort of get to that point towards the end of the first half of the first season, which I think, let's see, at the time of this recording, in 2 days from now, the last half of season 1 will finally start airing.
There you go.
Like, holy crap. It's been long enough. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
So that is
So
our
there's our
there's our
there's
list.
our list.
Yep. And I'll go ahead and I'll put it back up on the screen one more time. Let's get it here. There you go. There's our list one more time. And yeah. So if you have any questions or any comments, or you want to tell us that we suck, that's fine. You can find us down here on social media. Down here, you see on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can go to see us on Twitch if you want, because Patrick's always there streaming whatever game he feels like playing. And
Currently
let us,
Stardew Valley.
yeah, and let us know what you think. We definitely would like to have some conversations with our with people who view this show and whatnot. So,
And if you have any ideas as to what we should do next week,
well, and that's another thing is we're gonna do a day 0 review of the finale of Lower Decks season 3 this coming Thursday. It'll be on RedShirtsGeeks.tv. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Twitter and all that stuff.
all places.
But after that, we're gonna take a excuse me. We're gonna take a short break for a couple of weeks while we get prepped to do more episodes, as we start prepping more in-depth episodes where we talk about different topics regarding Star Trek. And then also we spend more time talking to some other people, some other podcasters that have their own shows, so we can kind of do some cross promotion and stuff like that. So join us in the next episode, which will be the wrap up of season 3 of Lower Decks, and then after that we'll take a short break and we'll be back with more Star Trek, more Star Trek fans, more creators, and all that stuff. And then it's certainly gonna be a good time. Also, Patrick and I have been invited to take place to take part in a Star Trek trivia show that we follow called Trexperts Quiz. And
When is that?
um, excuse me, that's going to be we're going to be recording that on December 3rd, and then I imagine it'll be shortly after that it actually airs. And then I talked to Brandon about it, and he will appear later on to take on the winner of that episode. So, that's all the time we have for this episode of Treknicity. I am Lars.
I'm Patrick.
And of course Brandon's down there looking all fly with his Star Trek gang signs. I hope he watches this and laughs. As always here on Treknicity, we encourage you to, of course, always rock out with your Spock out. See that little Spock sign, or like Captain Freeman. Like,
Get us out of here.
We out of here, yo. See you next time.